Don't settle for bad socks. Get comfort and grip at an affordable price with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Choose from 18 different colors at puregripsocks.com.
These are the pros and cons of the very unique Adidas F50 Plus. Where if you guys enjoy this style of video, don't forget to drop a like on this one and let me know what boot you'd like to see featured in the next one. Not to mention, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you don't miss out on my reviews of all the latest football boots of 2024. Starting off with what is easily the biggest pro of the F50 Plus, and that is the fact that they just feel fast. Because of the elevated forefoot by way of these Light Strike Pro inserts, these boots really put you on your toes unlike anything else currently on the market. And while the responsive cushion that Adidas promises, I don't think necessarily makes you faster in reality, there's no denying that the boots, like I said, feel extremely fast. However, there is a potential consequence of the elevated forefoot, and that's for somebody that potentially plays on harder ground, where because your forefoot is just higher than any other football boot by a significant margin, there is that little bit more potential to roll your ankle and just have a general instability. On a really well kept firm natural grass playing surface, even one that's a little bit softer, the elevated forefoot feels fantastic. But when you are on harder ground, it's very noticeable that the forefoot is higher than the heel, which is great for running in a straight line, but when it comes to changing direction, it might not be the best if the playing surface, like I said, isn't quite as forgiving. Something else I really love about the F50 Plus is the touch on the ball, where like most of the F50 variants, you're going to find that super pliable, thin fiber touch material, giving you that barefoot feel on the ball, but you also have the Sprint Web micro texturing scattered across the entire foot, where there's just a little more of it on the F50 Plus model, that grittiness on the surface really providing a nice amount of additional grip without the upper feeling sticky. Pair that up with the Laceless system that the F50 Plus has, and you have an incredibly clean touch on the ball if you're looking for the ultimate barefoot experience. However, there is a downside to the Laceless system in that it's just not for everybody, not to mention it does lack in any form of adjustability, where I think they did a really good job with the shaping, and as far as Laceless football boots go, I really like this overall design. However, despite having the same fiber touch upper as other F50 variants, because you lose out on the lacing system, the adjustability, the lockdown, the structure of the upper with the laces tied tight simply isn't quite as good, where when you're making quick cuts and changes of direction, this elasticated prime knit has that potential to stretch, which does allow the upper to move a little bit with your feet inside of the football boots, which will in turn make the boots feel less responsive and potentially cause a little bit of instability, which in the perfect storm of conditions with that elevated forefoot isn't necessarily ideal. If you're a fan of laceless boots though, I definitely think this is one of the better ones on the market. Another pro that arguably falls under personal preference when it comes to the F50 Plus is the stiffness of the sole plate, where through the forefoot, this is significantly more responsive than what you're gonna find from every other F50 Elite variation, where because of this double sole plate design, with that foam kind of sandwiched in the middle through the forefoot, you end up with something that is significantly stiffer, but in the best way possible in terms of giving you a pair of football boots that gives you that spring back sensation underfoot with every single step. It's gonna cost you though, because the F50 Plus is more expensive than every other variant of the F50 Elite, retailing for $300, not only making it the most expensive Adidas boot, but the most expensive football boot currently on offer from the big three brands. With that in mind, like I always say, more often than not, you don't have to pay full retail. So if you are interested in a pair of F50 Pluses for yourself, you can pick them up below their normal retail price by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes via the first link down below. Price tag aside, the F50 Plus is actually the lightest variant of the new F50, despite having all of this material in the forefoot, even a double sole plate design. This is about 10 grams lighter than a pair of regular F50 Elites in the same size, which obviously isn't a ton of weight, but compared to the regular F50 Elite, there's no denying that the Plus model does feel that little bit lighter. With the final con being the traction, and that's not to say that it's bad, but I think one of the major complaints a lot of people have had with this new lineup of F50s, Plus or Elite, is that the stud pattern just isn't as aggressive as other speed boots on the market, where you kind of have more of a conical shaping to the majority of the studs, which is great in terms of giving you that freedom to twist and pivot, but not as great when it comes to just giving you as much bite as possible when accelerating and making quick changes of direction. They're by no means lacking in traction, but certainly if you wanted a more aggressive traction pattern, you can get a lot more aggressive from a bunch of other speed boots.